People who survived a hostage situation, what happened? The gun came through the bank door at 2:43 p.m. on a Thursday afternoon in March. I was standing at the counter depositing my paycheck from the warehouse job, talking to the teller about her daughter's soccer tournament, when three men in ski masks burst through the entrance with weapons raised. The shortest one fired a shot into the ceiling that made my ears ring, and everyone in the lobby hit the floor. I dropped face first onto the marble tile, my check fluttering away, watching it land near a woman's purse 6 feet to my right. The short guy started screaming for everyone to get down and stay down, his voice cracking with adrenaline or drugs or both. The tall one went straight for the manager's office, while the third guy, medium build with a distinctive scar visible through his mask, positioned himself by the door with what looked like an AR-15. I counted 12 other people on the floor around me, including 2 elderly women, a teenager with headphones still blasting music, and the teller I'd been talking to, whose name tag said Patricia. She was crying silently, mascara running down her cheeks in black streaks. The short guy grabbed Patricia and dragged her out from behind the counter, pressing his gun against her temple while demanding she open the vault. She was shaking so badly she couldn't walk properly, stumbling over her own feet. That's when I recognized the voice. The short guy shouting orders was Danny Coulter, who'd graduated 2 years ahead of me from Riverside High. We'd been on the same recreational basketball league when we were 14, before his family moved across town, and he'd dropped out junior year. I hadn't seen him in maybe 5 years, but that voice, with its slight lisp on certain words, was unmistakable. He'd gotten himself into trouble back then, petty theft and drug possession. Nothing violent, but here he was, holding a gun to a bank teller's head while she sobbed and tried to remember the vault combination. The tall guy emerged from the manager's office dragging Mr. Hutchins, who managed this branch and sometimes came to the warehouse to process our business accounts. Hutchins was maybe 60, with gray hair and reading glasses that were now hanging crooked on his face. The tall guy threw him down next to the rest of us and told him to open the vault or he'd start shooting customers one at a time, starting with the oldest. One of the elderly women gasped and started praying under her breath in Spanish. The teenager with the headphones finally noticed what was happening and yanked them out, his eyes going wide with terror as he processed the 3 armed men controlling the lobby. Danny Coulter's hand was shaking as he held the gun, his finger too tight on the trigger for someone who knew what they were doing. I watched him from my position on the floor and realized he was terrified. This wasn't some hardened criminal running a practiced heist. This was a desperate kid who'd made terrible choices and was now in way over his head. Patricia managed to get the vault door open on her 3rd attempt, and Danny shoved her inside while the tall guy followed. The 3rd guy by the door shifted his weight constantly, scanning the street outside through the glass. Clearly, the most experienced of the 3. He was the one who scared me most because he seemed calm, in control, like he'd done this before. The rest of us stayed frozen on the floor, nobody daring to move or speak. The teenager's phone started buzzing in his pocket, and the guy by the door spun around, pointing his rifle directly at the kid's head. The buzzing stopped after 6 rings, and we all held our breath waiting to see if he'd pull the trigger anyway. He didn't, just turned back to watching the street, but his message was clear. Any sound, any movement, and someone would die. My heart was hammering so hard I could feel it in my throat. Danny came out of the vault carrying 2 black duffel bags that looked heavy, followed by the tall guy with 2 more. They'd been inside maybe 3 minutes, which meant they knew exactly what they wanted and where to find it. This wasn't random. Somebody had fed them information about this branch, about the vault access, maybe even about the schedule. Patricia stumbled out behind them, no longer crying, but wearing this blank expression that scared me worse than the tears had. The tall guy told Danny to secure the hostages while they loaded the car, and I felt my stomach drop because securing hostages meant we were about to become leverage. Danny pulled out a roll of zip ties from his pocket and started binding people's wrists behind their backs, working his way through the 12 of us systematically. When he got to me, our eyes met for half a second through his ski mask. I saw recognition flicker there. He knew I'd recognized him. His hand paused for just a moment before he zip-tied my wrists so tight the plastic bit into my skin. He moved on to the next person without saying anything, but I'd seen the calculation in his eyes. I was a problem he'd have to deal with eventually. That realization made my mouth go dry. To see the full story, click the link below or go on my channel.